Hey y'all, so my name is Riley Garden. Hey, how are ya? And I'm here today to talk to you about spirituality. So you might be wondering what spirituality is and how does that differentiate from different religions, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So in February, I went through a spiritual awakening, which totally rocked my world. It was horrifying. I had no idea what was going on until I started like having synchronicities happening, and my spirit guides were literally like grooming me to figure out what was going on, which obviously so perfect. So basically I had surgery February 27th, and it was literally right after that. So I don't know if the surgery is what caused it or if it was going to happen in divine timing, like no matter what, if I had the surgery or not, I don't know. However, my life drastically changed. Now, I did not realize what was going on for about a month. So I was experiencing all this crazy like energy. I could not sleep at night. I was constantly waking up every hour, or I basically wasn't sleeping at all. The biggest key too is I kept seeing darker entities in my closet, just like kind of darker figures, not necessarily like, you know, any demons or anything like that. But I just, it was like the veil was so thin because I was awakening. I was just starting to see things for as they truly were and not how the Matrix wants me to see them. So that was horrifying. And I had no idea what was going on. So I was freaking out. I thought there was a demon in my room. I thought maybe like the devil was coming for me. I had no idea what was going on because I had never been exposed to spirituality my entire life. However, my grandma and my aunt practiced, and I had no idea. So they didn't really share that with me, but now that I'm awakened and I can connect with them, it's so obvious to me, but I didn't realize it at the time because I was asleep. So it's generational for me, but it doesn't, like, everybody has this within them. So don't think that, oh, just because your parents didn't have the gift or whatever, that doesn't mean you don't, because actually everybody has the gift. It's just if you choose to move into it and choose to chase after it, you're absolutely able to do exactly what I'm able to do. So every human is able to do this, but society basically teaches you not to, or it's of the devil, or it's bad. Now, I want to explain, like, with the whole like the demon thing, there wasn't a demon, but however, you have to realize with spirituality, like, you have to realize there's so much more than just humans. So, you know, especially with time doesn't exist. It's here it's linear, but elsewhere there is no such thing as time. So it's all a constant. So yes, sometimes different beings are here, and to us, yeah, they can look scary because we're not used to them. But I'm fine. I'm all love and light, so don't worry about that. But I was a Christian, so I was like, oh my God, what is going on? Okay, so I'm going to start answering some of your questions I received on Instagram. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at RILEDANDSTLED on Instagram or RILEYVGARDEN. I have 2 accounts. Alright, so can I trigger a spiritual awakening for myself? Where do I start exploring? I get this question all the time. And where you can start is start meditating. And I recommend doing like a YouTube guided meditation. You can start off by doing like a 20-minute one. However, you know, for me, I literally watched maybe like 20 to 30 different meditation YouTube videos. Each time I would do a different one to see which one resonated with me the best. And then I finally found one where I really liked that one, and then I stuck with that actual YouTube guided meditation. So absolutely, you can start your own spiritual awakening, and it all starts with meditation. Especially if you're a person who has anxiety or depression, meditation is something that is so incredible. So absolutely. And I always say research, read, those are such important things. And like, I have a ton of books, but like one of my favorite books ever is The Alchemist, and it is such a life-changing, like, worldly wisdom book. So I would get that book, and I'll go over books a little bit later. I can feel energies. How do I channel that or explain it, get more intact with that? Well, again, meditation. So meditation is a form of you connecting with your higher self. So rather than you thinking, you know, you are this body and your looks are who you are, your hair is your identity, no. when you go inward, when you meditate, you discover your soul and you connect with your higher self, meaning your divine connection, because this body here is just a vessel. So you are not your vessel. You are a divine infinite being full of love and light. So you absolutely have power. A lot of people just don't know how to access that. So yes, if you're intuitive and you're already picking up on energies, start meditating and you can really transcribe those. Often I get downloads, is what I like to call them, and it's where spirit or my higher self or my spirit guides basically like show me like a movie reel or like pictures and explain stuff to me in a picture way so I can understand. So it's actually really incredible because of the things that they've taught me through pictures. It's not something that probably could be translated through words, but I understand it. So definitely meditation. And you'll probably hear a common theme throughout this entire video. I'm going to tell you to meditate because that's the best way to go inward. And I'll talk about meditation in a bit too. So how to get started? Meditate. I have so many how to get started. Always going to be meditation. And I want to tell you guys too, the key thing with meditation is I feel like there's a lot of misconception about meditation. It's not that your mind is completely blank, like you're just having you're in your head and it's just black and you're not thinking about anything. You're going to have thoughts and they're going to come up, but I encourage you to look at the thoughts as if you were on a train and each thought is a tree that you're passing by. So you see it and you acknowledge it and then it continues to go. And you see, okay, bye-bye. You acknowledge it because as long as you acknowledge the thought, it will go away. But it's when you try to ignore it and resist it, it'll keep hammering at you. So my main thing is acknowledge the thoughts and then go inward and focus on that breath and make sure you're doing deep belly breaths. So that's and you're going to want to push all the air out and kind of pull that gut up and inward into your ribs, and that will help. So you'll activate your third eye. That's a whole other video. All right, so another thing is tarot cards and just the basics of how to get to know your spirituality. So tarot cards, I would say you could start like after you've kind of gotten going with going inward and grounding yourself, because grounding yourself and connecting to the spirit realm when you're doing tarot is, I feel like, pretty important, because otherwise you're not connected to your deck and you're not getting messages from spirit. So you want to be able to connect. So for me, I started off with a really simple deck. It was a Shine Oracle deck, and that's on Amazon. And I started with that after I started meditating for at least like a month and a half. And then I started connecting with a deck. So now I have like I don't know, I have like 4 or 5 decks now. But it's super important, if you're interested in tarot card, is the first thing you need to know is yourself. You need to go inward and really connect with your higher self, so that way you can always ground yourself and protect yourself with love and light when you're working for tarot, so it has your best intentions at heart. Okay, how did you move past fear during your awakening? Oof, that's a great question, because spiritual awakening can be horrifying if you don't know what's going on. So for me, I had no idea what was going on, and I was a Christian. I chose to go to church on my own. My parents never made me go to church, so I was so like, that's your little bubble where you think you're safe and like that's what you know. So it's like, oh, this is just how it is, and it makes me feel safe, and you know, but really it's just so much bigger than that. So when that came crumbling down, it was like, it just no longer made any sense to me. Religion didn't, because for me, I won't go into all that because I don't want to offend anybody, because I want you to do whatever makes you feel comfortable. But for me, I just was like, it just no longer made any sense to me at all. For me, I was like, that's fear-based, that contradicts itself, because if you're all loving, all knowing, and you can't be jealous at the same time if you gave life to everything and you're all of love. And if you understand the law of vibration and like the levels of it, being jealous or saying you're going to go to hell is a very low vibration. So the all in creating divine universe, God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't work that way. So I think that moving past your fear is just going inward and meditating and acknowledge that, okay, I'm awakening, and that you'll probably feel like the veil is thin. And if you understand what that means, you know what I'm talking about, and move into it. It's not scary. And I mean, well, yeah, it is scary, but it's not scary after you realize, oh, this is what's going on. The scary part, I will tell you, is your little bubble is ruined, and you think that life is like this thing, and then it's completely not. It's completely different. You find out that you're infinite, and you also find out, kind of like for me, I started quantum like jumping, and I started doing quantum physics and doing that with metaphysics. So it's just like you just start learning mind-bending things where you're like, oh, I'm not real. And that can scare you. So especially with shadow work too, spirituality, if you're afraid, spirituality is all about healing your inner child, healing your traumas, and really going inward and fixing the traumas you faced as you were younger, in your teenage years, maybe a year ago. And you can even heal your ancestral trauma. So like your parents' trauma, you can go in and heal that. And that's all done with meditation. Or you can like have a Reiki healer, an energy healer, a shaman, many options. However, spirituality, that's the work that you need to put in. And everybody wants like to think that spirituality is just like butterflies and like crystals and just like, euphoria. And it is, but also it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of journaling. It requires a lot of inner work, and it also requires you to go in and see what triggers you and fix yourself and fix the dark things that you don't like about yourself, or face them and love them anyway. So again, spirituality, everyone just thinks it's like, oh, I can read energies and everything. Yes, but you have to remove the blockages, like shadow work, your dark parts of yourself, and heal them before you're able to move into your superpower. Because if you still have darkness lingering and traumas still there, then that's going to block you from being able to be more in the light if you have a whole lot of darkness that you refuse to acknowledge. Okay. Info about setting intentions and crystals. Intention settings are everything. Your word has so much power. So for me, like, I like to speak to my water, because water, a scientific study has been proven, the way that you speak to, I mean, even with plants, you know, you can tell a plant, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, and it will thrive. And you can do a different plant with the same lighting and everything and say toxic words to it, and it dies. So with your water, everything is energy. So you want good energy going into your body. So for me, I always enchant my water and cast good intentions on it, saying like, oh, this water is full of love, light, happiness, healing, all the good things. So intentions are super important, especially before going into meditations. You set the intent of what you want to accomplish in this meditation. I set intentions before I go to bed, so while I'm sleeping, my brain and my neurons are reprogramming through the intention I set before I went to bed. So intentions are everything. It's just like the law of attraction. Your words have so much power, so always be setting good intentions. Okay, I think I'm going to end it with that today. I don't want to overwhelm everyone, so I'll come back next time and talk about crystals, great books to read, my favorite meditation tones, my favorite hertz to listen to, and even artists that I like to listen to now, because I used to listen to hip hop and pop and all the hot new music, and I never listen to that stuff anymore because it's actually a really low vibration. So I'll be talking about that on the next episode, and I can't wait to see you guys. Bye.